We're about to watch a video about something, something somewhat related to moms. It is by a YouTube channel called Brian and Lisa. Now, this is an interesting YouTube channel, if you ask me. Pretty interesting YouTube channel. Let's go ahead and take a look at what they're all about. We got what's happening to the Christian music industry. Do not send your kids to WYAM, Youth with a Mission Exposed. This pastor says homosexuals should be executed and doesn't stop there. Hey, that's actually isn't bad. I like this video. Beth Moore rebukes biblical Christianity. Proof that TikTok is dangerous. Responding to criticals about my Naomi Judd video. It's basically like a channel where like it seems like it's a conservative couple that like makes content together. I will say, if this is him actually criticizing this pastor who's saying that gay people should be executed, that's actually fair. Now, I understand it's a pretty low bar, but something you have to understand is that when we're talking about conservative content creators, you literally like the bottom of the barrel is the best that you can really hope for. And like the fact, if a conservative can demonstrate to me that they are opposed to harm of any kind being done upon LGBT people at this point, that's a pretty high bar for conservatives, considering where they're at right now. I'm sorry. I'm not lowering the bar for LGBT people. I'm pointing out how low the bar has been lowered for conservatives and homophobes. But regardless, though, I mean, the content itself doesn't seem like anything crazy. Not even that big of a channel. I'm kind of punching down to an extent here, and I typically don't like to do that. This video doesn't even have that many views, but I saw this recommended to me on my Discord, and I just thought it was funny. Please don't harass this channel. I'm a larger YouTuber than this channel, and I don't want to be responsible for some smaller creator getting harassed. Like, legitimately, just be cool. Can we just leave it at that? Can you guys just be cool about it? If it turns out that he ends up going on a tirade about how some group of people needs to be genocided, then maybe then you can go mass report. But for now, just be cool. All right, be cool. Let's go into it. All right. Say goodbye to moms. Reaction to new Apple Peanuts special. For those of you guys that don't know, the Peanuts and Snoopy, it's a little cartoon slash comic in the newspapers. Been going on for like as long as I've been alive and longer. I really could not ballpark when it started. It possibly started at the beginning of the universe. I could not really disprove that if I tried. And I always liked Snoopy a lot, actually. When I was younger, when I was like a little kid, I actually remember picking up a lot of like Peanuts and Snoopy, like VHS tapes, and watching them a lot when I was a kid. I like that a lot. So apparently they did a Valentine's Day special recently, and I'm seeing here it says to mom and dad in quotes with love, and I assume it's going to be about some gay stuff. You know, we love gay stuff here, and I think he's going to get mad about it. He's definitely got the like the quartering clone look going on right now.
Entire day. Just mothers. Just mommy. Just mom. Good old mama. Just appreciate mama for one day. Just one day of the year. Apparently that's too much to ask for. This is a new ad. There's a little...
Are you like only using Mother's Day? Are you using Mother's Day as like an excuse to just like not do anything nice for your mom for the whole rest of the year?
Hey y'all, Brylan here. Today I want to talk about this new article that came out about, remember that Peanuts cartoon that was really fun? You know, Charlie Brown Christmas, all that kind of stuff. Just so much fun for the whole family. What a wonderful time we've all had with Peanuts, right?
Sure.
Well, Peanuts Mother's Day special declares some kids have two moms amid media push for LGBT inclusion. Yeah, you know, Peanuts...
Okay. You know that Mother's Day is a made-up holiday, right? Well, all holidays are made up, but like, it's like one of the most made-up holidays. It was literally just made up by corporations. It's literally completely manufactured by capitalism. It was meant to sell products. That's all Mother's Day and Father's Day are. Now, should you still use those days? You know, just because it's what everyone's doing and just because it's a nice thing to do, to make that be a day for your dad or mom or whatever to look forward to, absolutely. But I assume he's gonna get mad here about some gay agenda being pushed on kids or something.
That little kids, that children's cartoon. But before we get into all this, let's hear from the sponsor of today's.
Let's hear from the sponsor of today's video then. I like how he literally implies that it's fucked up for kids to know what that gay people exist, and then says, "All right, now for the sponsor. I want to see what the sponsor is. Who is putting their name behind this
video?" Today's video is sponsored by the Daily Grace Company. What a wonderful company this is.
Well, the Daily Grace Company puts their name behind this, I suppose. All right, well, cool.
Subscribe button and join this community. I would really appreciate that. As well as hit that thumbs up button. Like this video. I'd appreciate it. YouTube will share it with more people if you do. Thanks.
He's right about that. YouTube does show your videos to more people if you hit the like button. Hit that like button. Sends my content out to way more people than it would have otherwise. Liking my videos is the only way for my channel to get exposed to more new people. You want my message to be seen by more people? You hit that goddamn like button. This man sounds like Chills. Number 15, Burger King foot lettuce. The last thing you want in your Burger King burger is someone's foot fungus, but that might be what you get.
Hey y'all, so yeah, crazy world, right? I mean, we have peanuts now, apparently. Everything has to be this way. Everything has to be this now. Snoopy presents to
Oh my
Mom.
God, you're right. It's Evil Beau of the Fifth Column. That is so spot on. Holy shit. But you see, Beau of the Fifth Column records his videos in a shed. And this guy is sitting in his house with his air conditioning and his internet recording this video. Well, I, Beau of the Fifth Column, I stand out in my shed and I talk about these political issues with all of y'all folks, and we have a good time doing it. I think I do a pretty good impression of Beau. Me and Beau are from the same part of Florida. You have to understand, me and Beau of the Fifth Column literally come from the same part of Florida. I know the accent he's got. I can do it. And I've met like a million dudes who sound exactly like Beau of the Fifth Column. It's like I always love when I watch his videos. I'm just like, when I watch his videos, I feel like he could be recording that video in a shed like a few blocks away from a place that I once lived. I legitimately get that feeling when I watch his videos. It's kind of endearing. He also follows me on Twitter. He's a nice guy.
And Dad, with love. So now Mother's Day is now Mother's and Father's Day, which is great. So now do we cancel Father's Day?
I think it's because, all right, listen, I'm going to make a practicality argument here, all right? So I think what's being argued here is that some kids have two dads. And so if you want to do a thing where it's like each parent has a separate day, you would basically just do Mother's Day as Father's Day and then Father's Day as the other Father's Day. And that's just Snoopy acknowledging the existence, or like the Peanuts or whatever, acknowledging the existence of that scenario. Though I would basically argue, wouldn't it just be more practical to just do both for Father's Day? Like just have both dads be... It's just both dads' days on Father's Day. Why not just do that? And like both moms' days on Mother's Day? Also, who cares? Who cares about this?
Or do we just cancel Mother's Day? So now it's impossible to just love and appreciate mothers for one entire day. Just mothers. Just mommy. Just mom. Good old mama. Just appreciate mama for one day.
Bro?
Just one day of the year. Apparently that's too much to ask for. This is a new ad. It's a trailer. There's a little trailer for it right here that we're going to watch. But it says, upcoming Apple TV special featuring the characters from the Peanuts comic strip will promote same-sex families in the latest example of children's programming incorporating LGBT-related content.
Interesting source. The Christian Post. I'm sure this article that he is reading is not biased in any way whatsoever. I like how he has Genesis 1:27, Ephesians 6:1 through 3, and number of kids living only with their mothers has dough. I can't see the rest open in other tabs. What browser is this? Is this some Apple bullshit? Is this like a Mac OS like layout? It's so hideous. I'm so glad I use a PC. I'm so happy with Windows. Like listen, you don't even have to have a Mac to have like the Mac OS. You can literally just make a Hackintosh, which is when you build like a powerful gaming PC or whatever, and then you just pirate the Mac OS and put it on your PC, and you've got the power of an actual PC with like the layout of a Mac if that's what you want. If you want the OS, you can do that. That's what I do. Yeah, I mean, there's some people with Hackintoshes, and it's like, if that's what you're into, it's cool. I mean, I get that. I respect it. I respect that you're acknowledging that like Mac is, or that like Apple is incapable of creating a good PC or like a good game, like a good computer for gaming or anything or streaming or whatever. So you should build your own PC. But if you like the OS, then yeah, I guess if you want to. I just watch porn on my Mac, and yeah, I mean, it's less likely to get viruses, I guess.
10. On Friday, Apple TV released a trailer for an upcoming Mother's Day special titled Snoopy Presents to Mom and Dad with Love. So much love. So here's the ad right here. You got Snoopy on his red house, which is always it's just an iconic scene. Am I right? True. The trailer lists some tips on celebrating Mother's Day, accompanied by video footage of Charlie Brown's attempt to provide his mother breakfast and cake for the holiday backfiring. Of course it's going to backfire. Everything with Charlie Brown backfires. That's a part of the charm, right? Yeah. So this is clearly geared toward...
Nope. Poor Charlie Brown. That kid gets fucked over at every turn. But he's also like... I remember him kind of being a dick sometimes. Am I misremembering? Or was Charlie Brown also kind of a dick? Didn't he kind of deserve it sometimes? He just wanted to kick the football? Maybe I'm wrong.
Towards children, as Peanuts has always been. It's always been a child's comic strip. Adults have loved it as well. Don't get me wrong. We all love Charlie Brown's Christmas Story. We all love reading the Peanuts comic.
I don't really feel like there's... Okay. I'd honestly be willing to bet more adults read and watch anything Peanuts and Snoopy related than kids do these days. When was the last time you heard about a kid watching something Peanuts or Snoopy related? This is like boomer culture. This is like adult nostalgia boomer culture. Yeah, like my grandma read the Peanuts and Snoopy in the newspaper every day. She hated it, but she still read it.
Strip, but Charles Schulz, the creator, really desired to create something for children and the entire family, but really wanted children to have something that they could laugh at and appreciate. And I don't think Charles Schulz would be down with all this stuff going on today, but let's check out this trailer and see if there's really anything that bad in it.
I really want to talk to this guy. I'd like to have this guy on stream, and I'd like him to explain to me what about gay people is so morally reprehensible that children knowing they exist is like a moral harm to the world. I really want to hear the explanation. I want to know why.
Alright, listen up. What you're about to say.
Jesus Christ! Look at this animation. They have shadows. There's lighting. Like volumetric lighting is going on. They're like, they've got like, what the fuck? Next gen. It's next gen Peanuts.
See some real welcome soccer football. See it up.
I like the frame rate. Oh my god, this is actually kind of cute.
The line at the candy store sure was backed up due to Mother's Day tomorrow. I can't believe I almost forgot Mother's Day.
Oh no.
wasn't messy. Good.
The animation is very good. Xanderhall, Charles Schultz added a black kid so all kids would feel included. Wait, is that true? Oh my god, please tell me that's true. Wait. Oh, Charles Schultz inclusion. Please tell me that's true. This is from 2018. Here's how Charles Schultz destroyed racial biases and added a person of color to Peanuts. In a world where almost everyone is of a mixed race and descent, it's still surprising to see cases of racial discrimination happening today. From ethnic biases in our country to the instances of discrimination worldwide, individuals of a certain group or race have each been subjugated, ridiculed, and humiliated by the way they look and the color of their skin. Despite these insensitive displays in society, there are a few trailblazers who defied the norm and proved to the world that everyone deserves to be treated equally. Among these inspiring people is Peanuts comics creator Charles Schultz. In this Facebook post created by the John S. Randall Peace page, the writer details the lengths Schultz went through to have the character of Franklin published in the newspapers. On July 31st, 1968, a young black man was reading the newspaper when he saw something that he had never seen before. With tears in his eyes, he started running and screaming throughout the house, calling for his mom. He would show his mom, and she would gasp, seeing something she thought she would never see in her lifetime. Throughout the nation, there were similar reactions. What they saw was Franklin Armstrong's first appearance in the iconic comic strip Peanuts. Schultz was reportedly contacted by Los Angeles teacher Harriet Glickman, who asked the author to add a person of color to his Peanuts series. Initially, Schultz was hesitant to create the character. In these excerpts from the book Only What's Necessary, Charles M. Schultz and the Art of Peanuts by Chip Kidd, you can see the cartoonist's apprehension to add the said character to the comics. Dear Miss Glickman, thank you very much for your kind letter. I appreciate your suggestion about introducing a word that has fallen out of fashion nowadays, but back in the 1960s was the surprisingly politically correct way to refer to black people. Introducing a black child into the comic strip, but I am faced with the same problem that others, I'm just laughing, that other cartoonists are, who wish to comply with your suggestion. We all would like very much to be able to do this, but each of us is afraid that it would look like we are patronizing our black friends. I don't know what the solution is. Best regards, sincerely yours, Charles M. Schultz. And then here's another letter. Dear Miss Glickman, I will be very anxious to hear what your friends think of my reason for not including a black character in the strip. The more I think of the problem, the more I am convinced that it would be wrong for me to do so. I would be very happy to try, but I am sure that I would receive the sort of criticism that would make it appear as if I were doing this in a condescending manner. Kindest regards, sincerely yours, Charles M. Schultz. Now, I want to point out, by the way, this sounds a little bit, like sussy, right? Like, why would he assume that, like, black people would be offended by including a black character in Peanuts? To be clear, like, back then, in the 60s, there wasn't, like, a widespread understanding of wokeness. Like, if you were a white person who was trying his best to not be a bigot, you didn't know that, like, inclusion and diversity in media is, like, a thing that needs to happen and should be encouraged. That wasn't, like, a widely known thing. So from his perspective, it doesn't really surprise me if in his mind, from his perspective, he would have thought it might have seemed condescending or almost like caricature-ish in a way, Like, it could have seemed almost offensive from his perspective, at least. But, of course, he was wrong, but we'll obviously be continuing. However, a few of Glickman's pals also reached out to the Peanuts creator, and this letter from Glickman's friend, Kenneth C. Kelly, convinced Schultz that he was doing the right thing by introducing Franklin to the comics. We have a situation in America in which racial enmity is constantly portrayed. The inclusion of a black supernumerary in some of the group scenes in Peanuts would do two important things. Firstly, it would ease my problem of having my kids seeing themselves pictured in the overall American scene. Secondly, it would suggest racial amity in a casual day-to-day sense. I deliberately suggest a supernumerary role for a black character. The inclusion of a black character in your occasional group scenes would quietly and unobtrusively set the stage for a principal character at a later date, should the basis for such a principle develop. You gotta remember, guys, this is the 1960s. Jesus Christ. Then on July 31st, 1968, Franklin debuted as one of the Charlie Brown's friends in the Peanuts comics. Much like the other kids, Franklin was fun-loving and sweet. He had a father who was stationed in Vietnam, and he enjoyed playing games with Charlie Brown and his friends. At first, not everyone was keen on accepting Franklin as a member of Charlie Brown's group. Some editors have even threatened to pull out the comic strip since it was too controversial at the time. Wow, that sounds familiar. But Schultz stood his ground and supposedly told one of his editors, "Let's put it this way. Either you print it just the way I draw it, or I quit. How's that?" Let's put it this way. Either you print it just the way I drew it, or I quit. How's that? Fucking Giga Chad. Now that's a very good example. That's a very good rebuke of the narrative that somebody like Charles Schultz would be opposed to the inclusion of LGBT characters in any media that he had a part in. But also, that wouldn't matter even if he did. It really wouldn't. It would make no difference. It wouldn't matter. It would not matter. It simply would not matter. It simply would not. With that said, though, there's another really good example of this, and I want to draw a parallel in a moment. Another very good example of this. And I believe it was the 1960s. Star Trek The Next Generation aired the first ever interracial kiss on television between William Riker and I forget who, but we love William Riker. I always liked him a lot. He was one of my favorite characters. And they pushed and they pushed and they pushed to get that scene put in and to have it included with the no, that was the original series. Sorry, original series. I apologize. It was Kirk and Uhura. Oh yeah, I remember that. We love William Shatner. It was not a fabrication. But that scene was a really big deal when it happened. It was the first ever interracial kiss on TV in America. It was banned in many really hard red southern states, and it was treated very much like in the same way that stuff like this is treated, where you're including any level of LGBT inclusion in media, especially media that might have kids watching it. And I really feel like it's important that if you're like somebody who's against this whole like gay agenda in media thing, take a look back in time and look at how much what you're arguing parallels the arguments made against including like black characters or including interracial relationships in media like 50 years ago.
Dear Mom, thank you for my school lunches, especially the bologna sandwiches. Not so much the tuna fish.
So right off the bat, you're saying, I mean, this is classic Peanuts, classic
Okay.
Charlie Brown. I mean, it's fun, it's endearing, it's loving. There's, all kinds of antics going on.
I like the animation.
You love it. You do. You connect with it.
We got my mom an ice cream cake for Mother's Day. Apparently Mother's Day is not her favorite holiday. I don't know why he's so upset. Because he missed your mom? I never had a mom. Maybe he missed what moms do. My dad does all that mom stuff for me. For Mother's Day, I'm gonna celebrate my dad.
Okay.
Wait, is it even a gay thing? Or is it just a single dad thing? What?
So, and then it comes up, celebrate the person. Okay, so first of all, they're saying how, I never had a mom, so I can't celebrate Mother's Day. So sad, so down. And that is sad to not have a mother on Mother's Day. I, for one, can speak.
Wait, this is literally a story about making kids who will watch it feel more included and more welcome. Has that not always been everything we've read so far about it? Has that not always been the goal of the creator of the Peanuts?
On this. I grew up without my mother. My dad raised me and my brother by himself, and he did the best, absolute best he could, running his own business and raising me and my brother. I knew that my dad loved
Charles Schultz is privately pro-LGBT, Zan. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but maybe.
us, but my dad wasn't my mom. My dad was my dad, and he did everything he could to be my dad and to raise me as my dad. My dad couldn't replace my mother. Mothers can't be replaced. Mothers and fathers.
It's just a kid that wants to fit in with their friends by doing something nice for her dad because she doesn't have a mom. How is this a problem? How is this a problem? Please. Let me speed this up very quick because he kind of talks a little slow.
Are unique in their role and in their identity. It's unfortunate when there's a family that is broken up and doesn't have a mother and a father. I still deal with the repercussions of not having my mother to this day, of a lot of the pain and issues that I went through of not having that, causing anxiety and low self-esteem.
Isn't that more so the lack of a loved one that you miss, less so the need to have a particular parent of a particular gender to raise you in order to develop a certain way? He loves labels. Well, conservatives are all about labels. They're the biggest SJWs there are, you know?
I have dealt with all that my entire life. And by the grace of God, I have come through, and I've been able to trust in my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And he's given me the strength to not only forgive my mother, but to really come out of it and not be impacted in a way to where it's destroying me. Instead, I try to use it to reach out to others and to be an example to others that Jesus is a healer. And it's through Jesus Christ that we can find healing and that he can fill that hole that was left by not having my mother. Hole that was left, that we can find healing and that he can fill that hole that was left by not having my mother, that doesn't need to be filled by my dad. It can be filled by Jesus Christ. And that's what we're missing here, is the love of Jesus. I'm not saying that if you just have...
Your holes need to be... I'm sorry, but Christians, you gotta stop making it so easy. Why do you make it so easy? Why do they always make it so easy? You gotta let your holes be filled by Jesus Christ, guys. You're gonna let Jesus Christ's love fill your holes.
Have your dad, you can't say, hey, thanks for being the only person in my life that's taking care of me on Mother's Day. I mean, that's great. Be thankful all the time. But there's nothing wrong with having Mother's Day and it being about mothers and the sacrifice that mothers make.
This is... So, I want to talk to you guys about something. I'm trying to think of, like, something analogous to this. Like, what is something analogous to this that you could claim would be, like, the left doing something, or, like, the right doing something opposite? Like, let's say... I don't know. You never really see the left getting mad about a Mother's Day ad that just features what you'd expect from a Mother's Day ad. It's only ever the right getting mad whenever one thing steps out of line and dares, you know, put out a message that isn't in lockstep with all of the other corporate commercials around a completely made up corporate holiday. Like, Jesus Christ. How whiny can you get?
Let's keep watching this trailer.
Of course. Some kids have two moms. And because like me, you can have some...
Okay. Some kids have two moms. This has nothing to do with Mother's Day. Do you get that yet? Do you understand that this has nothing to do with Mother's Day? It has to do with trying to get children to believe a certain way and essentially to cancel.
Whoa. It has nothing to do with Mother's Day and everything to do with making kids think a certain way. The fact that some kids can have two moms. It's literally a peanut special about Mother's Day. And yes, some kids do have two moms. What, like, the whole point, we said this earlier, we went over the Charles Schultz stuff and about how he ended up fighting to add a black character to the Peanuts. After, like, at first he was hesitant about it, but then he decided it would be best after talking to more of his friends about it, and then he pushed for it. Editors tried to pull out and say, oh, we'll quit if you publish this, and he said, okay, well, either publish it as I wrote it or I quit. And that's what Charles Schultz did, and he was included. And dead moms have been a trope for centuries. Of course, everybody's got a dead parent, but, like, eventually. But, like, to be clear, I don't see what he has to be mad with here. Like, it really must be as simple as, like, he believes there's some moral degenerate. We know he's a Christian, though I'll admit I did see the one video where he was criticizing that one pastor, so I thought maybe he'd be a little bit more lax on the LGBT stuff, but clearly he thinks that gay people are some sin or aberration or some shit like that. So that's cringe.
It has to do with trying to get children to believe a certain way and essentially to cancel Mother's Day. Because one, remember...
To cancel Mother's Day? To cancel Mother's Day. The Peanuts is canceling Mother's Day. That's what's happening here. This reminds me of when Arthur... remember Arthur ended recently? Classic show on PBS. They recently aired an episode in which the teacher in it, not recently, it was like a couple years ago, where the teacher, Mr. Ratburn, gets married, and, like, all the students are really worried that his wife is going to be really mean and rude, and they catch him, like, with this woman out on dates and stuff, and she's, like, really rude and mean looking, and they don't really like her very much. But then it turns out she's just the wedding planner, who's a little cutthroat and rude, but she's just trying to get the job done. She's stressed out and kind of, upset. Turns out he's marrying a guy, and he's very nice and he's very sweet, and he makes, like, pastries and shit, and all the kids love him. And it's like they have their wedding and they don't even kiss. They don't even kiss in the wedding. They do a jig instead. And Alabama banned that episode of Arthur 2 years ago. That episode aired 2 years ago, and Alabama banned it. And all these conservative content creators came out in favor of Alabama banning the episode. What? You guys weren't... Damn, it's so surprising to me when I have people in my audience that weren't, like, into online politics 2 years ago and don't remember things like that. Yeah, that was... We covered a quartering video about that. Yeah, that was a big thing. That was a really big thing. But yeah, wait, isn't that illegal? Nope. Alabama straight up banned the episode. Wasn't allowed to air because it featured a gay wedding. That was only 2 years ago. Maybe less. Maybe less. It may even be less. Maybe 2019 at the latest. 2019 at the latest. I think 2020 though. Maybe 2019.
These same people don't even believe that there's a such thing as a mother, because mothers and fathers are usually gendered roles. This has nothing to do with actually wanting to promote Mother's Day and give mothers the attention and the affection and the thanks that they deserve for being
This is an interesting conspiracy, but go on.
Strong in a unique way. Mothers are irreplaceable. Fathers are irreplaceable. You can't replace the dynamic of a father and a mother raising their children. Genesis 1:27. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God.
Well, one thing I'll say about Christians is they have a book that they've decided is the most perfect book ever made and can never be wrong. And the book is self-fulfilling. If the book says it's true, then it's true. And so the book says that this is true, and so it must be true. There you go.
God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. We were created in the image of God, male and female. There are differences between us, and we were created to fill certain roles. The Bible tells us that children are given as a heritage from the Lord. They are a gift from God. And how do you have children? Through a man and a woman coming together and doing what only a man and a woman can do to have children. In Ephesians 6:1-3.
I don't know, man and man can have children together. Trans man and a cis man can have kids. It's happened. I've seen it. I haven't seen the birth, but I've like seen like stories on the internet about it.
3, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. And then check out what it says. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with a promise. You see the weight it's putting on this?
Oh yeah, this is the scripture that like the crazy like religious zealot parents that like breed and have a bunch of kids to raise like God's army or whatever, like in the backwoods. There's a lot of people. What is it called? Pentecostals, I think is the term. Is that it? there's a bunch of weird sub-Christian sects, especially out in Florida where I lived. And yep, someone in chat just mentioned the Quiverful movement. Yeah. It's all about like breeding as much as possible to raise like God's army. And these families, like, they'll abuse the shit out of their kids and raise them to be soldiers. And they're the scripture they always point to. They always point to the children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise, that it may be well with you and you may live long on the earth. Now, if we're talking about like the practicality of this Bible verse, it was probably like, hey, if you're a kid, you should probably like not make your parents too mad, because if they don't, like, you need them to like give you grain and slaughtered goat for at least like 20 years before you're able to like live on your own, or you'll die. So like maybe don't piss your parents off too much, because there is no CPS yet. That was probably what that particular scripture was saying. Like if we're talking about when it was written. But I don't know if it holds up as well today, when you consider the state of the world. Same with most Bible verses though, and their kids turn into pedos, like the one dude whose name escapes me at the moment. What? The Bible also says, stone your kids to death if they're disobedient. Well, I just get stoned, as in like smoke weed.
Verse here. This is the first commandment with a promise, that if you obey, honoring your father and your mother. You notice it doesn't say fathers and mothers. There's no S's anywhere. There's no. There's.
Yep. I know. Hey, you know what? I also heard that in the Bible it's Adam and Eve and not Adam and Steve. Have you heard that one? That's a new one.
Father and mother, that it may be well with you and you may live long on the earth. God is promising us that if we...
Yes, his argument is indeed Bible verses.
Honor our father and mother, who are unique in their roles, that we will live long on the earth and we will live well. We're seeing a correlation here between our society going like this and households with a father and a mother going like this.
Wait. He had a tab open? Oh my god, chat. He had a tab open that was number of kids living only with their mothers has and he was like gonna click on it, but then the video cut and now he's doing his outro. How much do you want to bet? How much do you want to bet that he, like, when he was making this video, he went Googling around for like a study to try to like find a study that would affirm the idea that like a kid needs a mom and a dad, and that it's harmful for a kid to have two dads or two moms. Found a study that he thought would be what he was looking for, just queued it up, expected to be able to read it and it would like back up everything he said. Then he read it, realized it didn't back up what he was saying, and so he decided to cut the part out of the video and just do the outro. How much do you want to bet that's what happened? I'm willing to bet that's exactly what fucking happened. Here, you want to see the link? Let me This is the tab that he has open that he doesn't click over to when he absolutely was about to. Like, watch the video.
Unique in their roles, that we will live long on the earth and we
Look,
will live
he's
well.
about to click on it.
Correlation.
See, he was about to click on it, and then immediately it cuts now. It cuts now to the outro. Immediately now it cuts to the outro, right when he was about to click on the tab.
In here, between our society going like this and households with a father and a mother going like this, they're both doing that at the same time. Why? Because when you have a father and a mother, the security of that house and that child goes through the roof. When you see the family unit.
If you want to have a very secure household, you want to have two dads that are working, okay? Can you imagine the raw productivity of a household? Two early 30s men raising a child, both working in STEM fields, all right? No women to hold them back, all right? Nothing but gay sex and the grind for the bag, all right? If you're trying to talk about a stable and time to take care of your child and give your child a fantastic healthy upbringing, frankly, that sounds like a much more stable and productive household than a household that has a mom who doesn't work because society pushes women not to go into the workforce, or especially into fields that typically pay more, like the STEM fields, and a dad who does work. But frankly, if you look at the realistic state of the employment landscape of America, you're probably going to be making very little money, and most households can't really support a child on a single income. Like right now, straight couples, probably not the ones you like that are in the position right now to be raising kids. Right now, that's actually one of the big parts of it, right? Obviously, like most people, it would seem, are straight. A lot of like young millennial and Zoomer, like older Zoomer, couples aren't having kids. It's been talked about a lot. Now, conservatives like to attribute it to some gay agenda type thing being pushed by the left and the Democrats, but in reality, what it is, it's economic stress. Who the fuck wants to have kids at 25 when they might not even get to retire at this rate by the time they're 80? Who? People who make a mistake and have a kid on accident or have very bad judgment is who. Or people who are very lucky. It's just it's, and people who are abused, people who get raped as well. It's a big part of it as well. There's a very big reason why you're seeing a lot of like these straight couples not having kids, but there's a term. I forget what the term is, but it's very popular around Palm Springs, where I've moved out to a few years ago, but I forget what the term is. It's like 2 income, no kids, two what's it called? It's like 2 income, no kids or something. DINK, yes. Dual income, no kids. Thank you. Yeah, DINK is the term. Dual income, no kids. That term is thrown around a lot around well, not here, but around Palm Springs and around like the area around also generally around LA and stuff, especially. And when I just hear it a lot, I don't hear it a lot online though. It's just like a real life. You hear it a lot in real life. I just don't hear it online. But yeah, that's like a real thing where you get like a couple who doesn't have kids. They're gay. They both work. They make a lot of money. They have a stable income. And I'm going to be honest, that at least if you drive around Palm Springs, maybe this is my own bias, but if you drive around Palm Springs and you look at all the houses with the pride flags out front, the gays are doing all right.
In its original form, a father and a mother start to break down, start to be attacked. You see society as a whole start to crumble. Hey, you know what? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. And if you wouldn't
I'm proud of you guys. Good work. Keep grinding.
mind hitting that subscribe button and subscribing to this channel, I would love to have you part of this community. And
all right, well, that was an awful video. Listen, if you enjoyed my video debunking it, though, please consider leaving a like. It's a very simple, very quick, very easy, and completely free method of dropping some support over on the channel. It helps me more than you even realize. It is not a simple show of support. It does actually help me a lot. You can also, if you want to support me even more, you can subscribe and ring the bell icon and turn on all notifications so YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload a new video. And if you want to see more from me online, you can follow my social medias, all linked down below. And finally, if you want to support me more substantially and directly, you can do so by subscribing, gifting a sub to somebody else, or even donating on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or financially supporting me on YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, or Patreon. With all that said, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and have a good one.